Colleen, I think they're going to start shooting because they have to go somewhere. So.
I don't want them to say something. Should I start or?
No, he just asked Murray to start getting to his seat.
I told him.
Probably gonna have 100.
Yeah, she's great.
Crazy. Why didn't you go down?
Minutes of fame.
Straight down bridge to watch.
Sorry, pass along.
She's still pretty quiet.
They have everything they need. That's all on. They're good to go.
Some fishing.
Right. Add to the truck traffic.
Listen, anyone? Terry, Jan,
Right. That's why we had it. Go across the bridge.
Hey, 1 minute. We have 160 seconds.
I know. Well, I'll buy it.
Yeah, get me out of there.
When are the girls' dance team gonna come? OCA. Oh, because I asked you about it and you said you were gonna do it. And then, okay, all right. Okay.
inches.
This is the regular council meeting of the City of Joliet, Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 at 6:30, with Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding. The invocation will be given by Father Chris Groh from St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church, 127 Briggs Street, followed by the Pledge to Allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty God, you generously bestow your gifts to us in abundance. We are most grateful for all that you continue to do for us and for the many favors that you grant. As we gather in your name, come to enlighten us so that everything may be done with your inspiration and wisdom. God of wisdom and justice, through you all authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and judgments are decreed. Guide and support our mayor and members of our city council, our city manager, and our city staff. Give them the strength to know your will so that all they do may be pleasing to you. May their work be conducted with righteousness, and may they always promote what is good for the welfare of our citizens of Joliet. We likewise commend to your care all of the residents of Joliet, that they too may be blessed and sanctified. Together may we all work for the betterment of our community and enjoy the blessings promised to those who remain faithful to you. For we pray to you who are one Lord and God, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here. Right, you gotta come back.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Pullman.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation by Catholic Charities regarding the financial state of Daybreak Shelter.
Yeah, I get one of things.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Mayor. Good
thought we
evening,
had one.
City staff, and good evening, City Council. Thank you for having us this evening. I know spring is in the air soon, so we'll be here. The reason why we are here today is really to seek the city council's input regarding the financial condition of Daybreak Center. And also, quite frankly, we are asking for your financial support as you see, as we go through the presentation, where exactly we are with the Daybreak Center. It all starts in 1993. Joliet helped Catholic Charities establish the Daybreak and financially supported it for many years. Today, Catholic Charities needs $500,000 annually to offset the deficit caused by a reduction in funds through HUD, which is the Urban Development Housing Authority, repairs that we have, and the rising expenses that we incur running the shelter. Who are we, Catholic Charities, Diocese of Joliet? We provide social services to 7 counties in the Diocese of Joliet. We were established in 1962, and we provide social services including aging and disability, housing and community development, emergency services, housing, early childhood services, counseling, and affordable housing. We're governed by a separate board of directors, and that board of directors is responsible for control and oversight of our agency. They approve all our programs and major changes to our programs. The Diocese of Joliet supplies $1.2 million to Catholic Charities annually, which represents about 6% of our budget. I will note that Catholic Charities does not give money to the Diocese of Joliet. We only receive money, and by our bylaws, we do not give money to other organizations. So all the money that we get into Catholic Charities, it really goes to the vulnerable in our community. We have a significant commitment to the city of Joliet. In fact, we have over 27 programs that service Joliet. They are emergency services, housing, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, the Daybreak Center, Shepherd's Table. And Shepherd's Table, you may know, is the midday meals that we give to hungry folks who can't afford meals, and it's open to the public. Supportive services for veterans' families, aging and disability services, senior companion program, foster grandparent program, money management program for the elderly, the ombudsman program, which we are advocates for seniors who are living in nursing homes, and we advocate any complaints that they have, and we investigate the nursing homes as well. Early childhood services, we have 4 Head Start programs in Joliet. We have an early Head Start program here too for children that are 6 weeks to 3 years old, and home-based services that we provide children's services whose parents don't want to send them to a center. Expectant mothers and child care. In our counseling division, we do individual, group. We have, we're in the schools, and we do what's called Project Protect, and Project Protect is for folks who are going through divorce with children to tell them that, you know, you still are responsible as a parent, and we give classes for that as well. And we have also a loss program, and loss is the loving outreach for suicide survivors. The original partnership between Daybreak and Joliet is very, very strong. We have a pad shelter located, well, a pad shelter was located across the street from what is now the Harrah's Casino. And it was a concern of the Harrah's parent company at the time, and Catholic Charities assumed responsibility for that pad shelter in 1993 and agreed to provide shelter and social services to the homeless and those at risk of becoming homeless. Catholic Charities was the only organization able to make that commitment to Joliet at the time. The city and downtown businesses, however, requested that we move the pad shelter more away from the downtown area. And in fact, the Housing Foundation of Joliet made a vacant property at 611 East Cass Street available to us, and that's where we moved in 1993. Catholic Charities at the time, we agreed to provide homeless shelter, transitional housing, a warming and cooling shelter. That's when temperatures drop below 20 degrees or above 90 degrees, we open it up to the public. Anybody who's cold or hot can come into that shelter. Shepherd's Table again. Homeward, again, housing programs, and we would seek help when we could to help people with utility problems, housing problems, perhaps paying for the prescription medicine. We also provided classes in job readiness, budgeting, and employment classes. Joliet, through the Joliet Housing Foundation, agreed to fund the annual HUD grant match requirement of $240,000 at that time. Also, they would provide police security when we open up the warming or the cooling centers. In 2008, Joliet told Daybreak that they were unable to fund the HUD match. Catholic Charities voiced our concern, and Joliet again started that contribution of $240,000, and that lasted through 2011. Today, Daybreak doesn't receive any funding from the city, and in 2012, the Joliet Housing Foundation bequeathed the Daybreak property to Catholic Charities. Also, the Joliet Police ceased providing security for our warming and cooling shelters at that time as well, too. So, Daybreak cannot simply be seen as a 120-bed homeless shelter. Daybreak must be evaluated by the totality of the services that we provide. If Daybreak were to close, the following programs and services administered within Daybreak would be jeopardized. Those are emergency shelter, the housing, permanent supportive housing, Shepherd's Table, supportive services for veteran families, staffing for the back-to-school fair, staffing for the mobile food pantries, counseling for the homeless, warming and cooling shelter, medical services, classes and supportive groups such as AA, employment, life skills, money management, and even domestic violence. How would the city of Joliet be impacted if the Daybreak shelter were closed? In 2018, Daybreak served 8,260 Will County residents. 5,105, or 62%, resided in Joliet. In addition, Catholic Charities Mobile Food Pantry administration in Daybreak served 1,820 Joliet residents. In total, 6,925 Joliet residents would be impacted and would not have those services. The homeless would return to the streets, sleeping in parking decks, streets and alleys. There would not be a warming shelter or cooling shelter, which in 2018 provided 48 nights of shelter to 1,104 people to get out of the cold. Quarterly, we have a physician assistant who come to Daybreak, and they would not be there. Case managers who work to connect clients to appropriate health care providers would not be there. The local hospitals will see an increase in their emergency services clients. In 2018, we had 5,983 Daybreak volunteers, many of whom have asked us to seek funding, to seek support from the city of Joliet. And they have provided 23,003 hours of service at Daybreak. Why should you Why should the city of Joliet fund Daybreak? Catholic Charities serves everyone. Number one question we're asked all the time, do you only serve Catholics? And we do not. We serve everyone regardless of the race, creed, lifestyle, or religious affiliation. All programs are designed to promote self-sufficiency, human dignity, and integrity. Daybreak began operating in financial collaboration with Joliet and downtown businesses. That relationship really must be established to maintain Daybreak's sustainability. While the city funds the arts, why shouldn't it also support the vulnerable in our community? In 2018, Daybreak served again 6,925 Joliet residents. Catholic Charities offers, as I mentioned, the Head Start program, counseling program, aging and disability services, along with emergency services and community services. Daybreak is the largest shelter in Will County. If Daybreak were to close, those experiencing homelessness could be in our community soliciting cash for meals or shelter, perhaps even outside of our own businesses. Daybreak closing would throw hundreds of individuals back on the streets, taking away their hopes of secure future, self-sufficiency, and purpose in life. I thank you. Now, I'd like to invite, we're going to have a movie first. Sorry, we're going to have a movie.
It's gonna blow us out there if it comes out, you know. It's gonna be loud when it comes out.
Are there any other, anyone else speaking? You want to do that while they're trying to fix this?
I apologize.
It's okay.
It's a great movie. I hope you guys get to see it.
That's all you needed was me
That's all
to
you
come
needed
up.
for Whoops.
We all go through things. I had a place, I lost it because the rent went up and I couldn't afford it.
I lost my house, I lost my job. Was out on the street, didn't know where to go, what to do, how to survive. Another unknown cadaver. That would have been me.
The things that brought me here from Las Vegas did not work out.
I do work, I do go to school during the day, but the only thing I lacked was a roof over my head. A lot of people fall on a hard time and they don't have a place to stay, so they come here.
I think it's great that they have somewhere people can go to when they're homeless, asleep.
I had never been in a place like this before.
Daybreak Center has given me a lot more brighter outlook, given me hope.
If Daybreak wasn't here for me, to be honest, I'd probably sleep in my car.
Daybreak has been very helpful for me by providing shelter and getting me affiliated with the programs that I need to help myself become self-sufficient.
The classes that are offered here, such as intermediary, it's a class you take here that kind of says, hey, this is how you got here, this is how you get to the next step.
I went through a methadone program. It really helped me out. They even sent me to school.
People come here because their children are protected. You're not in the streets, you're not in your van, you're around people who love children, who want to do whatever it takes to make the family thrive. I've been able to put my son in school. Shoes, a coat, a backpack. These were things that my kids needed in order to function. That was provided for us.
They helped me with clothes because he didn't have nothing. They helped. Right now they looking for housing for me. This is the first place I came to. And I take care of my babies.
Shepherd's Table gives me the food I need.
Me and my husband were sleeping in the car and like, came here and I get warm for like from 9 to 9 and do breakfast. The food is excellent. And then I get the shower Monday through Friday.
I feel like my life is now on the right track because of Catholic Charity, because of Daybreak. It's been a wonderful program.
Daybreak helps show that there isn't just rock bottom and you didn't hit it and that you're not alone.
I'm very grateful to them. They help people who want to help themselves. They want to steer you in the right direction, but you have to put forth the effort.
Anything a person can use or needs is through Daybreak.
Catholic Charities, Daybreak Shelter is really using every penny to give back to the families, the individuals, the people who come here asking for help.
I think that was worth the wait. Good evening, Mayor, councilmen and women, and city manager. My name is Kathleen Langdon, and it is my privilege to be the Director of Development and Communications for Catholic Charities. I'm going to ask you to look at the last graph in front of you now. And I can only say that when you look at this graph, it can only show you what we know tonight, right now. The agency has been notified that HUD will be decreasing their funding by $250,000. Daybreak has 6 main funding sources: HUD, FEMA, ESG, which is Emergency Solutions Grant, the Emergency and Transitional Housing Grant, the incredible support of the United Way of Will County, and then donations raised by Catholic Charities donors. Other than our HUD grant, we do not know if these other funders will be decreasing their awards between now and 2021. If so, the agency may see a larger deficit than the $702,000 deficit we present this evening. We do know that HUD has changed their funding focus away from mass shelter and towards rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing. Throughout the country, shelters are receiving less and less federal funding. Many of those shelters are closing. We also know that Joliet is short on the amount of affordable housing available. So rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing is very, very difficult, if not impossible, for our case managers to attain for our clients. Up until this year, Catholic Charities has been able to sustain Daybreak Center's deficit through our development department and a few very generous bequests or other one-time gifts. However, with the latest decrease of $250,000 in funding and not being able to plan on a bequest, it is no longer feasible for Catholic Charities alone to manage this deficit, which, as we can see on this chart, surpasses $700,000. The building that houses Daybreak was built in 1955. This heavily trafficked building is in need of great repair. The estimated costs of repair exceed $500,000. So, Catholic Charities is here tonight not looking for a one-time gift. Rather, we are looking to reestablish the financial collaboration and partnership that the agency shared with the great city of Joliet up until 2011. Do we have time for questions?
Yep.
So I'd like to invite Courtney Suker, who is the director of Daybreak, to join us, and Glenn, of course. And we'd be happy to take any of your questions.
It was
Any questions?
2008, I think, but then
To my right is Courtney Suker. Many of you know Courtney. She is the director of Daybreak Center.
Yeah.
Does Daybreak, is that a 24/7 operation? So is it open 24/7?
Daybreak is open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day.
Okay. And about how many of your residents that you care for are, I guess what I would consider Joliet, kind of Joliet residents?
So,
If you can speak in the mic, please, so you can hear it on TV. Thank you.
So within the presentation, we gave some of those statistics. Off the top of my head, 60% of the Will County residents are residents of the city of Joliet.
And I think I saw in your presentation at one time Joliet did help support Daybreak.
That's correct.
And do you recall how much that was?
So the initial financial support from the city of Joliet was $240,000, and that continued for quite a few years before it was discontinued in 2011.
Did I see also somewhere in your presentation that the diocese subsidizes does it cost about $500,000 to keep Daybreak, or the diocese subsidized $500,000 of Daybreak?
They give us $1.2 million a year for all our programs to use as we see fit. And so, yeah, some would go to Daybreak, some just other programs. We have over 42 programs totally in Catholic Charities.
That's all I for one, I think you do excellent work down there. And in about 4 weeks, I'm not going to be here. But I will say, I think you guys do great work down there. I don't know where any type of funding or how much would be available in our budget. I know we just got our budget here today, so it's kind of already set. But I think you do good work down there. I think that if you weren't there, socially, it would have a terrible impact on the city of Joliet. And I'm gonna paraphrase this, but Abraham Lincoln once said that the legitimate object of government is to provide for those who can't provide for themselves. And I think you guys do an excellent job at Daybreak in doing that. So again, in 4 weeks I won't be here, but hopefully some of our staff and maybe the council could get together to see if there's any amount of money that could help subsidize the good work that you do down there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words.
Yes.
Okay.
No, go ahead, she's ready.
Oh, okay. I have had the great pleasure of partnering with Daybreak Catholic Charities, and I tell you, the amount of hope that you are able to deliver to the less fortunate is amazing. The work that you do is so critical. You are that voice for the voiceless. You are that one champion for the dispossessed. So I wanted to say that to you, and I enjoy partnering and working with you. All of us in that nonprofit arena, we know that money is tight, and but I, for one, I hope and I pray that we can gain some increase in revenue someplace, because the organization like yours, I could not imagine it going away down there, and then what our residents are left with. So we'll be in constant prayer and sharpening the pencils as well. But yeah, we'll have to take a look. It's a lot out there, and the city has a lot going on, and money is tight. Money is tight. But the work that you do, God bless you for it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
So in 2021, when the new program, Rapid Housing, you referred to?
Right.
Who's going to run that program?
So HUD allocates funding to a geographic area, and a local group is responsible for distributing that funding to the eligible types of housing that HUD will fund. So Catholic Charities does provide some rapid rehousing services to the community, and that's helping people who are literally homeless get into housing, help subsidize their rent for a period of time, provide case management, things like that. There are other community agencies that are providing that type of housing as well. So while Catholic Charities does provide that service, other agencies within the community provide that service as well. But it does not provide the shelter and the emergency type of housing that people need when they've been evicted, when a family conflict have left them without a place to stay for that night, things like that.
Of the numbers of individuals that stay with you, length of time that some of them, most of them are there? How long is that?
It varies. I think our average length of stay last year was around 25 nights.
And when they leave you, are they going to a rapid housing type facility, or?
Some of them are. Unfortunately, there aren't as many rapid rehousing resources as would be necessary to house everybody coming out of shelter. So there's a variety of different housing destinations that people have from leaving shelter. Sometimes they reconcile their differences with family and move back with family. Sometimes they've become employed, have gotten income in order to pay housing costs on their own. Sometimes we help people get into senior housing or other kinds of subsidized housing through the Housing Authority. Sometimes the rapid rehousing program. So there's a lot of different destinations that people have after leaving shelter, but overall the stock of affordable housing in our community is not what it would need to be in order to provide permanent housing for every person leaving shelter.
Based on the numbers you showed us, it appeared to be obviously many people come for the Shepherd's Table that are not housed there. Go ahead.
How many paid employees do you have there?
At the Daybreak Center, we have about 30 paid employees. In the agency as a whole, it's...
We're close to 300 as an agency.
So, forgive me if I've missed this, but do you guys do any fundraising?
Yes.
Okay, because I've never seen it. Can you explain it to me, please?
Certainly. We have 4 appeals that go out each year seeking funding, and we also have fundraising events.
When you say appeals, just sending letters out to folks asking for money?
They are, direct mail appeals, but we have great success with those.
And what
We
kind of
have an
events do you
angel
have?
appeal that's coming up now. We have a donor that will match those funds. So we're looking to raise about $250,000 on that angel appeal. Our Christmas appeal raises $300,000.
How many events do you have a year?
We
Fundraising
have
events?
3 events.
And when are they? And can you tell me what they are?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, and I'll make sure that all the council men and women have folders with our information. We are very fortunate to be involved with First Look for Charity. You probably have seen it on television. Many of you might have even been there. It's the opening of the auto show the evening before, black tie, attire, and we receive we net $90,000 on that event. Our next event is Playing for Miracles. It has random themes. It in the past has been charitable gaming event. That has netted us this year $107,000. We have a golf outing. Also, we've made money. I think the mayor himself has golfed in the outing, so thank you for your support. And so we bring in money that way. We're going to start another golf outing in DuPage County. We also have a board of young professionals, which are people want young professionals looking to get involved with the agency through volunteerism and fundraising. So we have events that are geared towards the younger folk.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I think, I don't know if you mentioned it, I think too, but the diocesan appeal just went out. I'm not sure exactly what is raised, but it has to be in the hundreds of thousands that is
We
raised.
receive $1.2 million from the annual appeal,
Okay.
and that represents about 6%.
Yeah, 6%
Of our
budget,
total
and
budget.
of the appeal itself, I think it's like 25% of the entire appeal, so.
Mayor? Yes.
Certainly, there's no debating you guys do some great work. So I think emotionally, everybody would love to just give the money, emotionally. The question, you said you serve Catholic Charities as an organization, 7 counties. Have you approached the governments of the counties for those 7, Will, Grundy, and looked for some support in that regard too?
Happy to. So in the last month, we have started those conversations with surrounding counties because it is true, and cities as well. And we will be going to Washington the beginning of April, Glenn and myself, and we will be looking to make contact there with HUD especially, and trying to instigate some conversations that would lead towards additional funding, or at least less cutbacks.
And are you getting some support with your Washington effort from our elected officials in Congress?
Yes, everyone is extremely supportive. Everyone thinks it's a great program, that we do wonderful work, and I think we're trying, they will try to have movement towards funding. But yeah, we're getting the same message often. We think you're doing wonderful work. Boy, would the city look different without you. We really need you here, but can you find funding somewhere else? So we really are dependent on the great folks of Joliet to try to help us out with this, to some extent.
And again, I thank you for what you do. Nobody could watch that promotional video and not feel it.
I was going to
And,
pass out tissues.
so I think one of the clients, one of the folks in the video referred to it as rock bottom and
Yes.
landing there. And so, I'd hate to see you go away. So it's a great service for those in need. And it's no secret that nationwide we have a problem. Best kept secret, so to speak, of homelessness and the problems for the homeless folks.
And I know I speak for Glenn and Courtney to say that we are so proud of what we do. And it's a calling for all of us. It's a true ministry.
You should be proud. Thank you.
And just a point, Kathleen did mention that the shelters are closing around the nation. Catholic Charities in Chicago closed 6 of its 7 shelters because of lack of funding. Kankakee closed, they had 2 shelters run by the Salvation Army, and they closed too. So, it's tough in supporting shelters. It really is. So.
Mayor, back in the early 90s, I sat on a board at Daybreak and Catholic Charities, and I don't know what the name of it was at that time, and that was just in the early days of riverboat gaming. So it was pretty evident the need and pretty evident that where the funds were coming from, and that was our gaming funds. And they went for a lot of years, and it was an easy decision. And I think that we need to hopefully ask the city manager to see what he can find and what sources of funding would be used, because I agree with all my colleagues up here, that, it can't go away, and it's, you guys do great work. My wife volunteers over there, and the story she comes home with, it's just, it's excellent. So we all see the need, but I think we need to all put our thinking caps on and see where we can fund it and how much we can fund it.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it would be fair, the budget process starts around November.
Right.
And you're pursuing other funds, maybe in the late summer, early fall, come back to the council, give us an update where you're at with your funding before we get into our budget?
Can I
Okay, yeah.
ask one thing?
Yes.
Getting back to Larry's question, has there been any communities that have climbed on board? Like as far as committed any funds?
Not so far. In fact, we've just started, and fortunately, we do have a year really to work on this. So it's not like we want you to modify your current budget. So yeah, we just started. We're on the docket with Congressman Foster, and we already met with Senator McGuire and Representative Connor. And we've met with the two hospitals too, with Silver Cross and St. Joe's. So, and we want to start talking to the businesses too. John Grilling, we want to talk to drum up support in the community and not just come to one, being the city, for help. But yeah, we will do that. We're going everywhere.
Okay, and then I just have one more question. And maybe I'm just ignorant, but are the residents required to leave in the morning, or are they there all day?
I think, yeah,
So we have programming that operates throughout the day, and our residents have the choice of staying in the building and participating in the programming that we're providing, which could be meetings with case managers, some of the classes that we talked about, life skills, money management, that sort of thing, counseling. If they choose not to participate in programming, they do leave the facility. They come back at lunchtime. They come back at dinner time. But many people just choose that they don't want to access those services, and they are in the community, hopefully looking for jobs, hopefully doing productive things. But the perception that people have to leave the facility during the day is not correct.
Okay, but if they're not involved in one of the programs, then they do have to leave the building, right?
That is correct. And it's our expectation, like I said, that they are pursuing employment, education, other activities within the community.
I think it's important to know, because this was a big surprise to me, that many of our clients that are staying at the shelter have work. They leave the shelter, they go to work, they come back to stay because they just don't make enough money to provide housing. So until they get a second job or what have you, and they work with their case managers to find a spot, they'll stay at Daybreak. But I found that very surprising, and I think it's something that you should keep in mind, that this is just not a homeless center where the homeless stay. We have some floors of permanent supportive housing, but a large percentage of people that are actually staying at the shelter leave to go to their jobs, get their kids to school, and then come back to stay at the shelter until they can find either transitional or permanent housing.
Mayor? any
Yes.
more? Waiting list, I assume you have a waiting list of a sort?
We do not maintain a waiting list for shelter services. We often our capacity has not been reached for the number of beds that we provide at night. It does occur. It happened actually this last summer into the early fall where we had to divert people away from shelter because we had a large influx, particularly of families, and at that point we had about 50 kids at the facility, which was unusual for us, but a lot of children for a 120-bed shelter. So we don't usually have to divert people away. We don't operate on a waiting list type of basis where people have to line up outside in order to get a bed for the night. Once someone has come to the facility, goes through our intake process, they remain within our program until they leave. So we don't generally do waiting lists.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I'm familiar with your services and some of the, your clients, and I think you too, as everyone has said, that you have done an excellent job for the city of Joliet, especially for the east side. And we would definitely, as has been said, we'll miss you all if you're not there. So I agree with Councilman Turkin and the mayor for you all to come back and definitely see what we can do to help. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
See you in the fall.
There are no appointments tonight, so next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second. Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris? Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillen? Aye. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, council committee reports, CTIS committee report.
Communication Technology Information System met on Monday, February 25th, 10 a.m. in the executive conference room. We had a very short agenda. The committee is made up of myself, Councilman Betty Gavin, and Councilman Pat Mudrin. Staff was also there, as well as David Brainer, and we had two short items to talk about. One of them was the SharePoint demonstration, which will allow all employees access to all the information. So if they're out in the field and they need some information, they can just pull up the app and take a look at it and know what's going on. And as far as the some conduit assets that we have, I'm going to let Mr. Brainer explain that.
Really quick, we have some assets that were part of the original conduit. We had a municipal fiber plan, we decided to go a different direction, so we're going to put those out.
Anybody have any, sorry, anybody have any questions?
Questions?
We touched it all. It was only
Got
just
it.
two
Got both of
things. All two. All right, thank you. That concludes our report. We're very short.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service met yesterday at 4:30 here in the executive conference room. In attendance were the committee members, which is Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Dickinson, and myself.
Yes.
Also in attendance were the directors of Public Service and Public Utilities, as well as some staff members. It was a routine agenda. One item that I'll outline is we are starting what I might call a beta program with limited resources for a rain barrel and low-flow toilet rebate program. That's to encourage people to collect, it's part of the ongoing switch over to our new water supply and conserving water. I won't go into detail other than to say the rain barrel is about $60, and if you qualify, you can get $30 rebated from the city. And I believe the low-flow toilet, where you can go from 6 gallons or 3.5 gallons all the way down currently to as low as 1.5 gallons. And is that a $100 rebate? Do we have a number that they could call if they're interested in the program, Allison?
We plan to launch the program in mid-March, March 15th. We'll have information on the website, and they can also call the utilities number, which is 815-724-4220.
Okay, so, and for those, if you heard it or not, 815-724-4420. Watch the city website at cityofjoliet.info. We'll be launching the program, as Allison, the director of Water and Sewer, said, in March. And I think that's a good thing with the commission you would put together to address it. Other than that, the rest of the items were contracts, change orders, and final payments that we did go over. All were passed unanimously with a recommendation to full council to be approved. If I've missed anything?
Well, the one thing to add to the rain barrel, to add to the rain barrel, if you wanted to have it delivered, I believe they're coming from Morris. If you wanted to have them delivered, it's only $5. So I mean, if you can't go down there and get it, just have it delivered, it's only $5 more.
There we go. Thank you, Councilman Dickinson.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the combined meeting held on February 19th, 2019 stand approved as recorded. Council Memo 102-19, regular payroll for January 18th, 2019 through January 31st, 2019, $3,767,398.94. Council Memo 103-19, regular payroll for February 1st through February 14th, 2019, $3,483,819.68. It's recommended said regular payrolls be approved. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 105-19, ordinance amending and restating ordinance 17683, which established salary ranges and fringe benefits for exempt employees. This ordinance amending the comp time policy for exempt employees. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 106-19, an ordinance providing for the addition of regulations of and applications for small wireless facilities of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 107-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 4, Section 4-47, removal of alcoholic liquor from premises, allowing for the sealing and removal of open wine bottles from a restaurant. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Thank you.
Second.
I figured you'd
Motion
figure it.
seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye. Thank you, Councilwoman Coleman.
You're welcome.
Council Memo 108-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 3, Section 4-30, allowing for the sale of alcoholic beverages to commence at 9 a.m. on Sunday. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 110-19, a resolution authorizing a home subrecipient agreement between Will County, Illinois, and the City of Joliet, Illinois. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 111-19, a resolution appropriating funds for the Douglas Street Knox Place roadway improvements project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 112-19, a resolution approving an agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for Phase 2 of the Garnsey Avenue over the Spring Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 113-19, a resolution appropriating funds for the Phase 2 engineering for the Garnsey Avenue over the Spring Creek Improvement Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 114-19, a resolution requesting funding for the design and construction of US 6 between I-55 and Terminal Court. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 115-19, a resolution declaring certain City of Joliet property as surplus. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Get a cough drop, then you get real loud, don't you?
There you go.
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under bids and contracts, award of contracts. Council Memo 117-19, approve a professional services agreement for the 2020 Water System Rehabilitation Program. Council Memo 118-19, award a professional services agreement for the Phase 2 engineering services for the Garnsey Avenue over the Spring Creek Improvement Project. Council Memo 119-19, award a contract for the Rock Run and West Park Interceptors Rehabilitation Program. Council Memo 120-19, approve a professional services agreement for the 2019 Sanitary Sewer Investigation and Rehabilitation Program. And Council Memo 121-19, approve annual service agreement for sewer system monitoring. It's recommended Council Memos 117-19 through 121-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under amendments, change orders, and payments, Council Memo 123-19, approve change order number 1 in the amount of $8,500 for the demolition and excavation for the Bicentennial Park fountain renovation at 201 West Jefferson Street. Council Memo 124-19, approve change order number 2 for the Douglas Street, Knox Place roadway improvements project. Council Memo 125-19, approve change order number 4 for the Aux Sable and West Side wastewater treatment plants phosphorus removal and expansion project. Council Memo 126-19, approve change order number 1 for the Department of Public Utilities computerized maintenance and management system project. It's recommended Council Memos 123-19 through 126-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers received a letter of support for Joliet about the levee on the north side of town. It was signed by Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth, and U.S. Representative Foster. Hopefully, it'll lead to funding or another mechanism to assist the city of Joliet. Also, Representative Foster did meet with the mayor, Corporation Council, Councilman Hug, and I to discuss I-80 and the levee. They are now essentially both on his radar. And then your city staff is working diligently on many different city matters, ranging from city parking decks to fleet management to streamlining our adjudication process to increasing development. Much of the work they do is behind the scenes, and it does not go unnoticed by me. One of the projects I was briefed on today was a collaboration between fire and IT. Hopefully we'll have a demonstration with an update to our weather sirens very soon here in the council chambers. That's it.
Thank you.
New business, not for final action or recommendation.
No, sir.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Robert Hernandez, I almost forgot there was a meeting this evening. But I just wanted to say I didn't have the opportunity to be here at the last city council meeting. And I was very upset because I've been involved since I was 15 years old in Joliet. A class project which started in 1976 with Richard Reinhardt's class. And then my mother and father, who've always been involved in the community. My mom actually ran for the city council in 1977. My dad has been very involved in the community for over 40 years. So they instilled that in me. And I have not just talked the talk, but walked the walk. And when I was walking that walk, I walked with Councilman Dickinson, Councilman Quillman, and Councilman Turk. So I was very upset when a college trustee, Alicia Morales, who has come to me on numerous occasions for assistance, came here and berated the three council people at large for being afraid to come to the east side, which is absolutely ridiculous, false, and ignorant on her part to say that. Just a few years ago, she called me up crying, and she couldn't stop crying, and she wanted to meet in the mayor's office about her son who had fired shots in his own neighborhood. We did that. The issue was resolved, and Alicia continues and continues and continues to be negative on the city of Joliet and on the entire city council. And that is wrong. And I'm calling her out on it. As someone who has been involved in the city for over 30 years, as someone who has walked that walk, Mike Turk remembers that in the 90s, when the gang war was out of control, Mike walked the Benton Street area with me. As a result of him and former Councilman Warren Doris and former Councilman Manny Palacios, a cul-de-sac was put up there. And many of the problem disappeared. We also had a young officer who was working with us on the problems that were occurring over in the Forest Park community by the name of Bob Odekirk. So we've had that. Don Duck Dickerson has never missed a meeting since he's become a city councilman. Jan Quillman was with the gang task force and worked closely with us in the 1990s on East Side issues, particularly with the escalation of gang violence. So they have walked the walk with me and alone. They're not afraid to go to the East Side. They represent this entire city, and I was appalled by her statements and by her behavior recently. I also want to, say that since Mayor Odekirk was elected, he has walked that walk. He's been all over this city. He's like Councilman Dickerson, like Councilwoman Jan Quillman and Mike Turk. He doesn't miss a meeting, and he answers every single call. When my aunt, when we had the flood in the 90s, my aunt called her city councilman. He said he was too busy trying to clear out his own properties. He couldn't help her. All she wanted was a recommendation on somebody to come and get the water out of her basement. She called Councilman Mike Turk. Mike Turk says, give me a few minutes, I'll get someone. He didn't get someone. He came to her house with rubber boots, and he got that water out of her basement for a couple hours that he spent up there. So, these three councilmen may not live on the east side, but they represent the east side just as if they did live there. And I'm proud to say that. I'm also very proud to work with Councilman Morris and Councilwoman Gavin. Her and I have worked together on issues concerning the Housing Authority and the general community at large. She was there with me on Hickory Street as she was in Fairview. Councilman Terry Morris, he worked very closely to make sure that all contracts were handled properly with our development of building 60 homes on the southeast side, and he's also been very responsive to those residents in the Reedswood area and in the entire district of District 5. So again, I want to say to each one of you that Alicia Morales does not represent the heart and soul of the east side nor the Hispanic community. And I congratulate all of you for your work that you've done recently and in the past in representing all citizens of Joliet equally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Hello, I'm Chuck Harris. I'm a longtime resident of Joliet. I just wanted to say I'm very proud about our new transportation center. The facility is very well used, very well received by fellow commuters. But I do think we need to make some minor adjustments. Every Monday, you try to put $1 in your machine, and my train leaves at, I get there at 5 a.m. It does not take it on Mondays. You ask this security guard, they said the machines don't start working till 7 a.m. So that's a problem, just a little minor tweak. Next thing, if you take the Heritage Corridor and you're handicapped, you're penalized an extra $3 per parking than somebody's riding to Rock Island. Why is the handicap spots on the Heritage Corridor side have to pay $4 per parking, and the regular ridership handicap pays $1 on the Rock Island side? So that brings that to. Third, I would like to know why an abandoned van in the middle of the parking lot's been there placarded for over a month. It cannot be towed off in a reasonable time. It's been sitting a month in the middle of that beautiful facility with flat tires. It should have been removed within days of being placarded, being abandoned. So I do want to have one other recommendation. I know we have the $4 lot. I do not think it gets utilized very much. I think if you lower that to $1, you would bring more people closer to the station, and that would help support your tenant who's trying to run a restaurant like coffee shop business. Moving the passengers, especially on the Rock Island, to the far side away from the station does not draw them in for that tenant. It's counterproductive. And that's my only comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Marty, if you could look into that.
Yeah.
And I'll,
Just to remind residents, we have go request. Go request. So if you have any issues that come up, you don't have to really come here. Just send us a request.
I think if you, and I know Lisa Dorothy's been on top of it, it's kind of a work in progress, but thank you for the comments, and I think you made some good suggestions there. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. My name's Erica Holmes. Even though I wear many hats, my hat tonight, I am the co-president for the East Side Neighborhood Council. And just to inform everybody, we do, as neighborhood councils, we have the Joliet City Council Candidates Forum for Districts 2, 4, and 5 coming up at the Joliet Area Historical Museum at 204 North Ottawa Street, March 12, 2019. So the East Side Neighborhood Council meeting will be canceled due to this forum. The neighborhood organizations and councils located within District 2 and 4 invite all Joliet residents to attend this forum. The candidates running for this district council seats will answer questions related to issues important to residents of the near west and east side of Joliet. Attendees will additionally receive questionnaire responses from the candidates that focus on citywide issues. All Joliet residents are welcome and encouraged to attend. For more information, please find the event on Facebook. It is sponsored and moderated by the Joliet East and Near West Side neighborhood organizations and councils. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Next is mayor and council comments.
Betty?
Mayor, I just want to thank staff. Our staff has done an amazing job in this city, and especially on these cold nights, cold days. The way that the roads have been kept, I know that it is very difficult for the workers to be even out at that time. I think we had a dig, and that was extremely dangerous. So I just want to thank city staff for the work that they do in this city. That's all yours.
Thank you. Jim?
Just quickly, I will echo Councilwoman Gavin's comments. I had to go to Joliet Junior College the other morning at 7:30 in the morning. I was driving up Humboldt, and I knew it was cold because my wife's steering gets stiff when it's cold, and her mercury is 0 degrees. And they had a hole that they were in to fix by the creek on Humboldt, our water. And they had been there since midnight the night before. And I don't care what you pay them. You couldn't pay me enough to be out there in 0 degree weather, so thank you very much for going the extra mile like that, overnight to get the water service back on in such frigid conditions.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Joliet Catholic Academy on the forum they put out last night in regards to private education and the issues that are there with the state. Senator Tarrant was there, Bertino Tarrant was there to give the in-depth information on it, and it was a packed house. So you did a very good job, JCA.
I'd also agree with Councilman Quill, or let's meet myself. Gavin and Hug.
No, I want to see you argue with yourself. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, thanks to all the staff, great job they do. But I know it's a little bit early, but St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and we won't be meeting until the day after. So I want to wish everyone happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe and be well. That's it.
Just one quick question. Marty, is this a revised budget, or why do we have a budget tonight?
Jim?
I think it just got printed, is what.
Yeah.
It's a final printing budget, that's all.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I have a couple items. Number one, Marty Shanahan was with me on February 21st. The Joliet Cyborgs had their 7th annual community exhibition. I've said this before, nothing will make you feel older than seeing what students are doing with robotics and electronics, but great job, Joliet Cyborgs. February 23rd, at St. Joe's Park, the Boys and Girls Club had a real successful fight night. I think they raised close to $20,000. A number of council people were there, but thank you to everyone for coming out and supporting that event. February 26th, there was a candidates forum that was held at Brown Chapel Church. I know there were several sponsors, and I don't want to miss anyone, but thank you to those involved and all the candidates that showed up for that event. March 1st, we had a ribbon cutting at Essington Care at 1508 Essington Road. It's a quick clear facility. They were in Shorewood. They've located to Joliet, so welcome to our city. Also on March 1st, Singleton Elementary School invited me to participate in the World Read Aloud Day. So it was a fun event, very bright group of children that I was assigned to at Singleton, but thank you to the staff, teachers and staff there. And then finally, March 4th, yesterday, the Senior Services of Will County held their annual awards, and including that, they gave a Lifetime Achievement Award to Larry Walsh Sr. So congratulations, Larry, and also I wish Larry the best of health. He wasn't there to accept the award, but I told he's recuperating and doing better, so that's good news. And that's all I have.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.